for what was supposed to be the biggest event ever in League's history and one that would last all year. There hasn't been much released in terms of lore so far. Of course, we got 2 champions, a TFT expansion, and 2 more champions are coming out as well as a game mode, but in terms of new lore, we just got a new Senna story, the Ruination cinematic, and Gwen and Viego stories. And now a new story called Inside of Land has been released featuring Kalista. It begins by describing how the mist is now more powerful than ever. The story follows Tudre, a captain being attacked by the mist, now clinging to a hunk of driftwood in the ocean. He could almost hear the deep calling up to him to join all the others, her silver tongue carrying the promise of sleep if he would just draw her water into his lungs. It's very interesting seeing the deep being referred to as she, considering what we know about a certain deity-like figure who is also referred to using female pronouns. Tudre was originally sailing towards Falgrin, an island that we know belongs to the Noxian territory. The story goes back multiple times to before the wreckage, as Tudre reminisces of what happened. He remembers talking with his quartermaster, Bauzi. Tudre insisted on doing some kind of heist, but Bauzi told him that doing so during the biggest harrowing meant death. Returning to the present, Tudre tried to banish this memory, but it was as if something was forcing him to remember. These and other memories were haunting him. He couldn't move. It was more than just tired muscles, numbed by cold. Tudre's good eye flicked this way and that, seeing only faint silhouettes in the waning moonlight. More debris, the lighted bits of a ship that had yet to settle down into the inky deep, and bodies of women and men who called him captain, who relied upon you. The word struck Tudre, a feeling rather than a sound, and you betrayed them. Memories of his crew getting slaughtered by wraiths of the mist returned to him. The sense of guilt that had become a voice was now many, thundering in his mind like broadside cannon. You did this. Our lives forfeit. Your greed. Killed us all. Murderer. Turncoat. He had finally seen land in the distance when he noticed the dark shapes all around him, the corpses of his crew. He tried to convince them he had done nothing wrong, to no avail. They merged into a single, terrible chorus, repeating a single word like a dirge to drive down and bury in Tudre's heart. Betrayer! No, he screamed in denial. Suddenly, the driftwood sank a fraction, as the wonder added weight. It was then that Kalista revealed herself. I was only trying to make me way in this world. My crew didn't deserve the fate, no, but nor do I deserve this. You don't know what it'd be like, leading those in your command to their doom, to be responsible for the damnation of their very souls. Oh, I'm sure Kalista knows that very well. Sudden life was brought to her cold, unreadable features, almost as if there was a sound in the distance that only she could hear. The woman glared down at Tudre, boring into the core of him. Rage twisted her face in a rictus for an instant, and then it was gone. Slowly she lowered her spear, resting it under Tudre's throat. She pushed, just enough to separate him from the driftwood and push him under the water. Tudre's mind seemed to fight, the urge to survive willing him to rise, but he could not. The spear tip at his throat held him beneath. Tudre looked up at that shimmering, dispassionate visage. Lady Vengeance had come for him at last. The voices had all gone silent. His crew sank down with him, closing around him like fingers making a fist. All light faded. Tudre finally succumbed to the deep and drew her into his lungs. The last bubble slipped from his lips as he drifted lower into the darkness and went down just inside of land. And this was the new Kalista story. It really didn't tell us anything we didn't know, but it's a good introduction to what Kalista is, as much as their color story, I guess. I'm assuming this is more of an appetizer for what's to come, preparing us for the actual story of the Ruination. A teaser for the Ruination in Demacia was released, and I'm sure more will come soon, likely in anticipation for the actual event, the new game mode, the new champion, and maybe the release of the Ruin King game. Speaking of the game, I plan to make videos about its lore and Easter eggs, but are there any of you interested in a full playthrough of the game? Perhaps even a stream of it? Let me know in the comments. I have no idea if playthroughs are still popular or if I actually have enough people interested in seeing me playing the game live, so let me know. With this being said, there's a link to my Ruination playlist down below, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.